right now. Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome inside the Fan Cave. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. You know the drill. Call us at 412-575-2600 or on X or Twitter, however you prefer. It's KD Pomp and Chris Mueller, PGH. Chris is up at 93.7 The Fan, home of the PM team. And Chris, I'm going to start off with a milestone tonight with Sidney Crosby. The kid just keeps, he's not a kid anymore. He's an adult. He has kids on his team now. It's Sid and the kids, I guess. But, man, he just continues to deliver. They're getting great goaltending, really, consistently. And they've got a guy down at Wilkes-Barre Scranton who's playing better than both of the guys up here, as Murashov was the player of the month down there. Your thoughts about what you've seen from this team?
I mean, if you'd told me that they would get 15 of a possible 20 points 10 games into the season and that you could argue they threw away maybe at least 2 or 3 points more and could be even better than this, I would have obviously told you that's just, preposterous. You would have sounded like the biggest liar of all time. They've been an incredibly pleasant surprise. There's no other way to put it. I think it's kind of incredible. You and I were both around, obviously, when Crosby was 18 years old, breaking in, getting his teeth knocked out by Darian Hatcher, and it's just funny to watch him in the same lineup now as kids that age, literal kids, teenagers, and he's still going at a level that is exceeded by very few in the league. I think the question now that arises with the Penguins, and by the way, Karlsson was really good tonight, really an offensive force and a creator. That would be the ultimate wild card. If you could get that guy looking like the player they thought they were getting instead of the one that they've gotten so far for the most part, that would be kind of a major X factor because it would be like adding a high-end defenseman when they hadn't really gotten play like that. But the question, Bob, that I think is probably on your mind, I would imagine is on viewers' minds who are hoping against hope maybe that they're seeing something unusual here and something unexpected is, how long does this have to go for the Penguins before both people on the outside and the Penguins internally start believing that it's more than just a really nice 10-game run? You've got 10 more games. If you're anywhere near this pace, you're a quarter of the way through the season, and chances are you're probably one of the 3 or 4 best teams in the NHL at that point. Only the Devils have more points in the entire league, I believe. Maybe Colorado too, but now you start to get into territory where if this goes on till Thanksgiving, if this goes on halfway through December, you have to kind of recalculate how you want this season to go, and it stops being about Gavin McKenna and starts being about, hey, can you make the playoffs and make some noise potentially?
Yeah, well, for me, I thought they would be a playoff team. When we talked about it preseason, I just
True. Hold on, true.
I'm only saying that because I really believed in Crosby and those guys, and I also thought that Dan Muse gives a fresh approach, and you can tell they're playing a different brand of hockey. We haven't seen all that many odd man breaks. We haven't seen 45 shots against. We haven't seen sloppy play. Every now and then you get some, but it's been reduced, and I think that bodes well for them. We'll see. You'll find out a lot in the next couple of games when both Kindle and Brunick have to, either going to be here or going to be down in the juniors. They have to decide, and if they decide to keep them both, I think that tells you they believe that they can be, a team that will stay relevant pretty much all season long. We'll get into that more as you call 412-575-2600. Also, the big news from yesterday, of course, is Steelers now have plummeted all the way to the last spot, 32 among 32 teams when it comes to pass defense. They are getting just gouged. Last 2 games, Chris, over 700 yards, 6 touchdowns, no picks against both Flacco and Jordan Love. And this story last night was about Rodgers until it wasn't, and then Love came in and stole the show.
Once again, there are no major adjustments that we can see. I guess they did something very broad strokes. They sat back against Flacco, and he diced them up. Then they decided they were going to blitz Jordan Love all the time, even though Jordan Love historically is very good against the blitz, and he carved them up. They didn't get much pressure, even though they were blitzing all the time. They don't really seem to have any answers, Bob, and I'll point this out. All the reinforcements they acquired, either via signing or via trade, to augment this secondary, with the whole idea being we can play more man defense, so therefore we can heat up quarterbacks. I think the average age of all the guys they brought in was 30 and a half years old. I don't need to tell you or anybody else watching or listening, that is pretty old when it comes to the defensive backfield. So Mike Tomlin, this organization, they hitch their wagons to a lot of guys who are longer in the tooth. And right now that looks like a very bad decision that they are going to be paying for really the rest of the year.
Yeah, it won't get any easier. Got the Colts coming in, number 1 offense in the NFL. You can see our KDKA.com/connect poll of the night, brought to you by Penn West University. Are the Penguins contenders or pretenders? Yes or no? Let us know what you think at 412-575-2600. We got your calls coming up next. Board is already loaded, as you can imagine. All Steeler calls here so far. We'll get into those and more when we come back right here on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. We're live on KDKA+. Welcome back. This is our Xfinity tweet of the night. Comes from the NFL on CBS. Worst total defense rank for Steelers in franchise history. You see 2025, and that would be the worst in the history of the franchise. They got a lot of work to do, and they got one of the hotter quarterbacks coming in with a run game that is the best in the NFL, and a guy who is probably in line to win Offensive Player of the Year. We have a lot of people want to talk about this, Chris, so let's get right to it, and we'll come back with some other conversations and questions I have for you. But first, it's our number 1 Cochrane Go One Better caller of the night, and that would be Rick in Oakmont. Hello, Rick. How are you? Rick, are you there?
Yes, are you there?
Yeah, go right ahead, sir.
Okay. Hey, I was wondering, with this secondary, the way it is, where is Beanie Bishop? I know he was on the practice squad, but could they not bring him off the practice squad and
they could do
the game?
Rick, I would expect them to make a whole bunch of personnel moves back there. Jabril Peppers is another guy who's brought in, and he hasn't seen the field at all. And given what we've seen from those guys, with Elliott out now, and you got Thornhill, who looked like he was riding a Bronco down, Kraft's ride down the field the other day. Man, it was unbelievable. They need help everywhere, but secondary specifically, and the corners and safety, Chris. So I would expect some of those guys to get opportunities.
Thornhill, by the way, can I just say for a minute, Juan Thornhill is the guy saying we could be the best defense ever. He looked like a kid doing the Pizza Hut pop-up contest in the outfield at Old Three Rivers Stadium, completely lost under the baseball.
Oh, the one on Watson. Yeah.
Yes. Love is just heaving it up there. I called it, I said Love going into this game, I pointed out he does throw a couple of YOLO balls every so often that could be picked off, and he gets a little bit of good luck. Thornhill's like in position there and then just completely space cadets out on that play. I don't need to hear another syllable from Juan Thornhill, who is a good quote, I admit, but I don't need to hear that guy touting what the defense is capable of until he makes a solitary single play of significance for this team. But, like, change it all out. I mean, they really have no depth. I'm going to point out again, they brought in older guys or unproven guys. Thornhill got cut loose by the Browns. They seem to expect that they were bringing in Darius Slay from 10 years ago and not a guy who's 34 and looks like he's turned about 45 overnight. The plan in retrospect should have been very evident to everybody and suspect to everybody, and only now is it being revealed as so inadequate, I guess, is what I would say, Bob. I don't know about you. Maybe I'm barking up the wrong tree here, but it seems very clear now that they tried to bring in a bunch of guys past their primes and tell them to run with younger receivers, and that's just proved to be a disaster against better teams.
Right. Yeah, 5 years ago, those would have been spectacular moves, but right now they can't keep up with those teams, and that's what they were brought here to do, especially Chase and Higgins and people like that. Even this Green Bay team, they have a lot of receivers they utilize, not to mention the big tight end. And speaking of that, next week we have one of the best in the business coming in, Tyler Warren, who's right up there with Rookie of the Year conversation. I wonder how many times they'll target him, which brings us to this from Twitter. It's Terry G on Twitter. He says, why doesn't Watt move around, give them something different to think about? And they did try that for a little bit, and for whatever reason, it's not sustained itself. And he's there at the same position all the time, and teams know how to scheme for that. You saw Micah Parsons last night, and I know he's a different player, but he moves around and he comes at angles that sometimes you're surprised to see.
Well, so does Myles Garrett, and he had 5 sacks. I know the Browns got crushed, so it doesn't really matter, but T.J. Watt is the reason that T.J. Watt doesn't move around more. He doesn't like to do it. That's a fact. He just does not like to do it. He's not as comfortable doing it. He thinks playing over and opposite the right tackle is the best spot on the field for him. We also need to have a hard conversation about T.J. Watt, because I got pilloried, not by you, Bob, but, the usual suspects. Come on, Mulsey, you're being way too negative. I said they should have explored trading him before last season started. And then I said they still should have thought about doing it before this season started, even though the return would have been less. He is a speed and technique rusher who has very evidently, in my opinion, lost his first step. It is pretty clear. Like, he was getting single blocked on running plays by tight ends for the Packers. And their right tackle, Tom, completely blanking on his first name, Zach Tom, I think it is, just ate him alive for the most part of that game. I think he was credited
before too.
He was credited with one quarterback hurry in the entire game. He just is not the player that he was. That should be very clear to all parties involved. And he is getting $41 million a year. And I suspect returns will continue to diminish as he gets older, because I don't think he's suddenly going to get quicker again.
And I think if they wanted to sign him, the time to do it was last year, before it ever got to the market, which continued to change. You know, once some of these guys like Max Crosby, Myles Garrett, all these guys got different deals, and it pushed up the price. They could have done it if they wanted to do it a little earlier to save some money. Let's go to Kevin in Hartford, Connecticut. What's up, Kevin? How are you? Thanks for joining us tonight.
All right. How you doing, Bob? I just wanted to say, you know, one thing about the Steelers defense. There is no fire. There's no drive. There is no excitement at all in that defense. And Patrick Queen, he seems to always be a step behind. Now, I know Mike Tomlin might have brought him in as a communicator leader, but right now we need some physical defense, and we need to go back to the old Steelers way, because right now that team is in bad shape.
Kevin, you're not the only one saying it. Cam Hayward said it after the game last night. He said, we didn't have enough fight. When you hear it from the captain of the defense, Chris, it's not a good thing to hear. He's right in the middle of that.
No, I mean, coming from him, it's one thing for us to say it on the outside. It's another thing for the guy fighting the battles in there to say his teammates just, he and his teammates don't have a lot of fight. I don't know if you saw this as well. Trey Essex, again, I'll say this. It's one reason I would never call any player soft in any sport, but especially football. I haven't been there. I haven't played and fought in the battles like these guys have. Trey Essex has. His job was to occasionally block people like Patrick Queen, right? He said last night during that game that he felt like Queen was playing a soft brand of football. I don't think that we've seen really much of anything from Patrick Queen to justify the salary they gave him, the contract they gave him. I also think, Bob, I don't know about you, it's pretty alarming that the consensus opinion when Deshaun Elliott got hurt was, wow, this is bad news and immediately for the Steelers defense. Who knows if they'll be able to hold up without Elliott out there. He's so valuable. He communicates so well. What does that say when a guy who's making like 1/6 the amount of money this year that TJ Watt is making is apparently your most valuable player on that side of the ball? Like, everything's just very out of whack with them. And this might not have been rock bottom for Mike Tomlin's defense, but I feel like we can see the ground right now, and it's approaching very fast for them.
Yeah, and it's allowed teams like Baltimore to come back into this after their win yesterday. They play Thursday, so we'll know ahead of time. If they get to 3-5 and the Steelers have trouble on Sunday, all of a sudden it's a one-game difference, and there are two head-to-head games. And you look at the schedule, man, down the road, there's some pretty good quarterbacks they're going to have to face. And while last year they missed some of these guys because of injury, so far if they're there, I mean, you got Goff, you got Josh Allen, you got Lamar twice, you got all these different guys, not to mention the next two games.
You're going to see Joe Flacco. You're going to see Joe Flacco. Mike
yeah.
Tomlin might have to sleep with the light on that week because he'll be so scared. No, Bob, here's the other point. The Ravens are already, okay, after one win and one more Steelers loss, they are already the betting favorites again to win the division. That should show you how absolutely non-existent the confidence is in the Steelers, or the belief is in the Steelers among the people who set these lines. Baltimore is still, 2 games out in the division? Mm-hmm. And they are already, again, the betting favorite to win it.
Interesting. We're going to talk more about that. We have Judy and Brian on the line. We're going to take a break, get to your calls when we come back. You're watching the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call right here on KDKA+. Bob Pompeani, Chris Mueller back with you at 412-575-2600. As promised, let's go to Judy, who joins us in Squirrel Hill. Hey, Judy, what's up?
Hi, Bob and Chris. Thank you for taking my call. Mm-hmm. I just like to, my concern is for the coaching staff, with the exception of the special teams coach. I mean, this should go to this begins at the top with the Rooneys. Come on, give our fans a little more than what we've been giving them at the stadium. I mean, we're all disappointed in the coaching staff. I would say pack your bags, get out, change it all. Furthermore, those uniforms were hideous.
Well, the fashion people out there had a nice time with that one. I don't mind that. I really I'm more interested in how they play and what they're not doing. And yes, their defensive, they came into this with high expectations. To see them at the bottom, at some point something's got to give there, and we'll see in the next couple of weeks if, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if they play better and somehow squeak out a win because Indy makes some mistakes perhaps, but it's going to take other teams contributing to it because I don't know on their own they can do that by themselves.
I'll be very surprised if they beat Indy. It's also evident Mike Tomlin's strategy defensively is to force turnovers when his defense doesn't get those field-flipping plays, and they're less likely, in my opinion, against good offenses. They don't really have any answers. And Terrell Austin might be a very nice guy. Never met him, don't know him. I would show him the door. I'd give him his walking papers, and then I would make it abundantly clear if I were Art Rooney that it gets out there publicly. This is Mike Tomlin's defense. Mike Tomlin calls the shots so that Mike Tomlin has to wear it if they continue to fail because they do hide behind this cloak of plausible deniability about who does what, and I'm very tired of that, as are most people.
Well, if you remember Matt Canada, it took a longer time than what most people thought, but it happened during one of these press conferences, and so we'll say I don't expect that tomorrow, but I think things have got to improve very quickly, and if not, at the end of the season, there could be major changes there. Chris, we're out of time. As always, appreciate it. Thank you. Are you back tomorrow, or is it Pony?
That's one of the great mysteries, Bob. I do believe it's Pony. I do believe I will be handling both of my usual Wednesday and Thursday shows, but till you know what? I don't know. Tomorrow evening, I think we've got to be in a holding pattern here.
We have Piercing Prep going on right now by Andrew Phillips.
Oh, my good. Don't
Thanks,
even
Chris.
get me started yet. It might just be anxiety right now.
Yeah. Have a good night. We'll see you guys all tomorrow. Thanks for joining us right here.